Okay, Small Axe Talks. I have Sam Miller on. We're just gonna kind of bullshit. So tell me, he's opening up a skate shop at Desert
Right.
Ridge in North Scottsdale, and what's the Reverb? Is the name of it?
Reverb, but it's going to be abbreviated RVRB.
Okay. Where'd
So
you get that name?
I just came out. I'm into music a lot as well, and I like reverb in music. So I thought it would sound cool, and it looks cool being abbreviated, and that seems to be the thing in businesses' names or whatnot is the abbreviation of stuff nowadays instead of being spelled out all the way.
Yeah, that's kind of
So it's
true.
kind of a trendy, fashionable
Reverb.
marketing thing. So we're going to go with that. So I mean, when you answer the phone, say it'll be a reverb, but it's going to be RVRB. So
Yeah,
you'll see it.
that's a cool name. Yeah, I like that. So what you worked for a while ago, right? What was this? Independent? Was that a skate shop that it used to be?
Industrial,
Oh,
industrial
industrial.
ice
Yeah,
shop,
that's
which
right.
was a local shop that started.
So what happened? They went out of business then, right?
Yeah, they're going down, or they went out of business. Is not going down. There's several things involved in that, but I think one was the health of the owner, one of the owners. So they decided to pack it in. But I mean, they were around for 20 years, so they were
They
definitely doing something right.
they're totally closed down, or
Yeah,
do they have
all
any?
all
Okay.
18 locations I think it was they had,
Yeah.
and they were in multi states. So
Yeah, I remember going there when I was a kid, and I thought it was
yeah,
badass. Like they had all the logoing and stuff was like, wasn't it like yellow and black?
so it looked like it was like a construction site or something.
Yeah,
Really, in
that's right.
even the industrial setting. So a lot of
Yeah.
metal, wood, that kind of stuff.
So how was that when you worked with them? Was that a
Oh, it was fun. It was a very chilled, laid back environment. I mean, kind of what you expect from those shops, unless it's like one of the mainstream ones where they're pushing you to get sales and get numbers, and so you can get a commission or a bonus or whatnot.
Were they doing that when you
No,
were? Oh, they weren't. Oh, that's
nothing
cool.
like that. Just your typical little small.
So is that what made you want to do what you're doing?
No, no, I actually had my own skate shop for 12 years down in Sierra
Oh, fuck.
Vista called Thorny's Board Shop. So, and again, what got me into doing that was I've always been into skateboarding, but I started working at a skate shop in California, Ontario Mills called IS Interstate. And that's what got me into it. He's like, I think I'd like doing this because I really enjoyed the job. It was fun. Can meet people, laid back environment, have music playing, you can do what you want. So that's
Yeah.
what got me started. So I opened that in 2000 and closed it in 2012 to move up here.
Damn, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So
cool.
I've had the experience, but there was just too much competition. The market was saturated up here, but with them closing down all their shops, that opens up a huge market.
Yeah,
So that's what we're going to shoot for and go for here.
that's awesome. Yeah, man, very cool. So when you had the shop before that you managed, I mean, what did you have in there as far as like skate decks, clothing, stuff like
Yeah,
that?
pretty much
Kind of.
everything. Women's clothing, men's, shoes, boards, trucks, wheels, hats, you name it.
Yeah,
But it was definitely on a smaller scale. I mean, it wasn't huge like a Zoomies or something.
yeah,
But I had all the typical normal stuff that the kids wanted, trendy things. Independent or a girl or whoever was big at the time. We'd
yeah.
have it. So
Who's like big right now? Is there what's out right
a
now?
brand that's really big right now is called Fuck Yeah.
Fucking, I don't remember them.
They're really popular, but I mean, it depends where you go.
Yeah,
Certain things are gonna be so. Vans is always huge. Nike SB is real big. So again, it depends on the market. There's some like local people like Pyramid Country. They're really big.
Pyramid Country.
Welcome Skateboards is really popular out here. So again, it depends on where your market is and the clientele you're trying to hit. But
Yeah, I remember when I was in high school. I used to go to Tilly's, that store all the time, and that famous brand, famous. Well, like they just had like F, and then they had all these different
Famous
designs.
Stars and Straps.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
that
like
was huge back when
fucking
it first came out.
obsessed.
It was really huge. When I used to sell that down at the shop I had,
Really?
and it sold like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of died out now, and that's not the big thing anymore.
Is it? Are they still around?
I believe they're still around.
Okay.
I just don't know where you'd buy it. Maybe at Tilly's still,
Yeah.
and probably online and wherever else where shops might carry them. But yeah, it's weird. It comes and goes. So again, right before they were closing down, Adidas was getting really huge in the skate scene, and the clothing and stuff was selling. Like Thrasher, they've been around forever, but again, it got to like blown up to being trendy popular because I don't know if it was Bieber or one of those famous people wore one of their shirts, and so all the kids wanted it.
Yeah.
So we'd sell all of those out like there was no tomorrow.
Are people still buying like Supreme and like shit like that? Is that still
Yeah,
popular?
that's still a popular brand, and I think from my understanding is you can only get that online through their company,
Really?
but it's extremely expensive.
Crazy expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't. But again, they did some good marketing and did something right. And
Fuck.
so yeah, that's still a popular brand. You see it. Not sure what the big one is right now. To do some more research before we get going and
Yeah.
see if we can get that in there. But
I remember being into when I was in high school and middle school. Like I remember being into like clothing. I guess everybody is when you're young. Like you want to kind of like fit in, but I don't remember it being. I feel like today it's way more of a deal, like a big deal, don't you think?
yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with social media and
Yeah.
what's popular and trying to be like whoever. So I remember when I was growing up in the '90s, you see like a movie star, or back then I liked MTV stuff a lot, music videos. So I see a certain musician wearing a shirt or a hat or something. I tried to find that. I said I gotta have that. So it was big back then, but not like it is now, where it's just in your face. It's blown up. It's on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and you name it, Snapchat. So it's definitely made it more accessible to where it's hitting a larger audience, and they all got to have that and be
Yeah.
the next hip cool thing. So
Fuck.
it's definitely changed. But I think that's always been there as far as seeing something somebody likes. Now I want that, and you get it. So that's
People wanting to fit in, or
yeah, and that's usually the whole thing about being in business. You want to make something that more than one person wants.
yeah.
Unless you're an artist, then obviously you want the
It's
limited amount to
limited,
push it
yeah.
up. Yeah, but I think that's where it's going. But yeah, it's definitely blown up and gotten huge as far as the trendy, have it now, what's next. And you got to stay on top of that in this industry or you won't make it.
Fuck. So were you gonna try to do like once you get going, have people like do ambassador type stuff for you, like like if they have somebody who has a bunch of Instagram followers, are you gonna try to get people to like wear your stuff?
Maybe if it's beneficial to us, then that's definitely something we'd look into. The key would be getting maybe some local skaters that are getting big or are already pros or sponsored. Maybe see if we can work out a deal with them,
Yeah.
some kind of sponsorship. But it's always hard. It's always money and numbers and what can you do for me? What can you offer me? Type thing. So we'll see what we can do, but we'll definitely be hitting the advertising hard. So
Fuck.
we shall see.
Yeah, that all the social media stuff is so like confusing to me and something that I don't even like because I don't know. It's just, I mean, some people are really good at it. You see them. I'm sure there are people on Instagram, like people who post constantly, like pictures of themselves, like it's whether it's a celebrity or whatever, quasi celebrity. Like, how the fuck do you post a picture of yourself every single day and that stays interesting?
That's all part of that. Trying to keep the awareness and the popularity going, so you keep those people coming and seeing what you got, and they want to see what you're doing next. And then some of these people are getting money for that stuff.
Oh, hell yeah, they are.
So, I mean, I can see why they can do it, but I mean, even for the people that don't like social media, I'm okay with it. I can deal with it. But I know there's some friends I have that aren't into it, but they want to still have a presence on there, so they pay people to run it for them. Which even to me is kind of mind-boggling. Like, you don't even have to be under that much and still have a presence. You can do something like twice a week, and you're keeping your presence up there. It's just on how you market it and get the right followers and people. It'll get seen.
Do you have like personally? Do you have like a Facebook or Instagram or stuff like that?
Yeah, I have for both, for the shop and for me.
But for you personally, do you have a Facebook?
Yeah, for me personally, I don't post on it all every day. In fact, I only post stuff maybe twice a week, if that.
Do you go on Facebook like every day for the most part?
Yeah, no, it's accessible because it's always logged in on my phone through the app.
Yeah. Do you have Twitter? You know, Twitter?
No, I actually don't have that one. I have Snapchat, but I use that maybe once a week.
Yeah.
Instagram seems to be the biggest one I'm using right now.
Instagram.
And that seems to be where we're getting the most hits and draw for shop interest and other things.
But for you personally, do you post stuff on Instagram?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow. What about as far as Facebook? Do you still like that, or do you see?
Yeah, I still like it. So when I'm posting on that, that's more my mom, family members kind of use that more so they can access it and see kind of what's going on. But for the Instagram, I'm doing it to get more people to see it or see stuff I like say I go to a restaurant, something I like.
Yeah.
Just post something of that, and I really like them. I want them to make it. So if I put something up and more people see it and it brings them in, then keeps that restaurant or whatever it is open, so I can keep going there.
Yeah.
And also increase their business. So.
Do you think people are like? Because I know there's been stuff recently, like in the past months, where people have been upset with Facebook, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking delete my Facebook, or I'm gonna try to be on social media less. Like, do you see, like, is there a decline in activity that you see in people that that are on social media, or no?
I don't think so. I mean, there's always going to be, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they do that I don't like either. But again, going into this kind of stuff, you already knew that was, it's not like they didn't tell you that this was happening. There might have been some stuff they hid, but in this modern age and technology, everything, I mean, with their cell phones, they can track you and find you and you name it. So I'm not too worried, but there's those people that are into that, and that's cool. And that, in a way, I think maybe because of Facebook and the Instagrams and Twitters, a lot of people have lost their way or how to connect with people in person. Yeah. It's like they can only connect through what they see through these little 30-second or minute videos or pictures, and they live through that, but they never meet in person. They'll never go out past that. Yeah. It's just that safety net of doing this, and you can put filters and it looks better than it really is, or they look better than it really is. And it's leading to a decline in people meeting in person and making friends. That's what, like, so for me, I don't have any social media, but I've only been alive, really. I mean, the internet has been around for, basically, I grew up with the internet. So, I mean, I've only been alive, really, when all this shit has been around. So I can't really compare, like, what things were like to what it's like now. But I mean, I know you go to coffee shops a lot, and so do I, and you hang out, and like sometimes I'll strike up a conversation with somebody I don't know, but I mean, you go in there and everybody's on their fucking laptop or their cell phone the whole time. It's just like you're oblivious to them. So there are some that will talk to you or strike a conversation, or they see what you're having, like, hey, what is that? Yeah. But yeah, it's just, and sadly, most people are using those places to get free Wi-Fi or whatever. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it is a different scene. It's, like I said, it's really hard. You didn't grow up with that. And I grew up in the 80s and 90s. There was no internet. You want to make friends, you go out. You meet them at school, or you meet the kids playing in the neighborhood or at the park or wherever you're at. Yeah. Now you don't hardly ever see that. If you see a kid out playing now, you're like, wow, what's going on here? Yeah, what's this little weirdo doing? So it is very weird, and it is more of a rare, random sight. I wonder if that's not good for people. I wonder if what we're doing is not good, or if people will kind of like chill out in the future. Do you watch Black Mirror? No, I've never seen it. I've been wanting to watch it. Dude, it's epic. It's really epic. Worth checking There's out. This one of the episodes. I mean, it's kind of like Twilight Zone. So all the episodes is like, it's an individual story. And the first one sucks, by the way. So don't get, like, watch the first season or first episode? No, just the first episode is fucking awful. I don't know what happened, but all the other ones are badass. But there's one in particular, like, it's weird because you can almost see a lot of the different things happening for sure. But one of them, kind of like the gist of it is, I can't remember how far in the future or what the setting is like, but basically everybody has, a social rating, and you can see their social rating. So like when you go, you get a every time you have an interaction with somebody, you get rated. So like, let's say you go out and you order coffee in the morning, and then you rate the barista, like whatever, 5 stars, and they rate you 5 stars on how the interaction was. And throughout the day, everybody's fucking doing that all day long. And that's all anybody cares about is their fucking rating. And who you are in society, or what your worth is based on what your rating is. And anyway, so this chick in this episode, I don't want to ruin it, but the whole thing is the episode, she gets like, just fucking goes down into oblivion. Like her rating just gets tanked and her life just basically is over. But it's like, I could totally see, I don't know, something weird like that happening where like everything is based on your rating. Or it kind of is going like that. And I mean, it's basically the old version of how it was in high school back in the days. Is you're hanging with the cool cheerleader or the jock or something, and then they do something to alienate you because they did something or stole their boyfriend. Now your popularity's gone and no one likes you, no one will talk to you, you're an outcast. So it's like that in the social media world now. And it's sad that it is getting like that, because you can't do nothing. So again, with these apps you're talking about, I've checked out a lot of them because it was something I was interested in doing, is making an app for friends to meet. and they all seem to copy. I'm pretty sure it's Tinder that started it with the swiping right, swiping left stuff.
Okay.
So I've checked it out and I made a thing under to see how it works. I've tried almost all of them that are to see, because most of those apps, they go for the dating thing. So basically, you got guys just trying to get laid, or vice versa. But then they started going, well, now it's not just for flirting and dating, but now we have one where it's flirting and dating or friendships. But again, most people still use it. And then now they got the apps where it's just meet friends. But they all treat it like a Facebook or a Twitter. They just post updates, and it's all that swipe left or swipe right if you like someone.
Yeah.
But when it comes time to met some people, it's like, oh, let's meet up and go to coffee. Oh, I can't have kids, or I have this, or I can't have work in the morning, and I'm all, so do I. And back in the old days, that's what you did, is you meet up and hang out, and it's, no matter what, they won't get past what's in front of them or on the screen. They can't actually interact with people in person. It's like they can only live in these little blurbs or words they type out, and it's sad that it's gotten that way. So again, I've tried these apps because I was thinking, why can't they have an app that's kind of like that, but where it encourages you to go out and meet. And I think there's some programs like that, but you got to pay money to do it. It's like a yearly or monthly subscription. But say, make it like a Tinder app. Yeah. And start like, hey, we like people, but hey, we have an Oktoberfest coming up, and everyone that comes from this group, we're all meeting here at this time, but you'll get 10% off your entrance or something.
Wasn't that what, if you heard of Meetup?
It's kind of, yeah, so we got the meetups, but not so much just, those are scheduled against like, hey, we're a meetup for, we like dinosaurs, so we're going to meet up just to talk about dinosaurs. Yeah. This one's just a meetup of random strangers, but it's a event. Most people like to drink. They don't like to drink beers or sodas and water, and there's food and an atmosphere, a festival atmosphere, so you can all meet up. Hey, if you don't get along and it doesn't work out, you can venture off on your own and have fun. So yeah, kind of like a meetup thing, mixed with the Tinder part, mixed with whatever app is the new trending app right now as far as social apps go, and incorporate it to where we can go out and meet friends. But even then, on those apps, again, the people don't want to get past that, and that's the tricky part, is getting them out from behind their phone or the computer screen and meeting in person, and it's proving quite difficult. I feel like
for young people, obviously, if you're young, for the most part, anywhere, for a lot of young people, where they're going to go as far as industry to work in is going to be some sort of like tech industry. And the hard part about that is that like a lot of people work remotely nowadays, or they work a lot online. So it's like you're probably, a large part of your friend group was probably the people you worked with, but now more and more people are working, remotely, or they don't have to be around as many people. So I feel like that definitely is another thing that makes it harder. But, I don't know. I forgot where I was going to say something. I forgot where I was going.
Well, a lot of that is true, and there are all those people that are in that field that they're not a social person, and that's good for them. But there's a lot of people that were social or maybe don't even know how to be social anymore. Yeah. But again, they don't even want to get up past that. I don't get it. I like to meet with people and talk about stuff and things I'm interested in, but they don't.
Well, I feel like it's kind of weird. Like, the bigger the city that you move into or that you live into, the more alienated people get, which is totally fucking weird because there's way more people. But I feel like the more people you have around you, the smaller your circle gets, because people who live in like small towns, like they have a tighter knit group of people, I'm sure, that they know, and things are more like relaxed and slowed down. But I feel like people who live in fucking cities are just like insane, basically.
Well, that, and I go back to, I think maybe a small portion might be leading to where we're having all these killings and shootings and mass shootings and violent stuff, is because people aren't interacting with each other anymore. Yeah. So if somebody says or does something and it pisses them off, they don't know how to handle it. They aren't used to interacting. So now it's just immediately, I'm going to be violent and
they just lash
do
out.
Something. I'm not saying that's the whole reason, but I think that helps.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or is leading to that. So I think if people are starting to get more social, more you have to interact. Now, again, don't get me wrong. These people run into each other at grocery stores and things like that, and some of them just don't get along. But again, back in the 80s, 90s, you go to the grocery store, every grocery store. You're not on your phone. You're not getting in the way of someone or see who's buying what. You go to a concert. You go out to the park. There's a lot of families and people at the parks. Now you go to parks, there's hardly anyone there.
Yeah.
Except for like a big holiday or something, Memorial Day or something. They're all there to barbecue. But I think it's that loss of interaction and always being around people that people don't know how to act or handle being turned down or losing a job or anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem, and they need to find a way to fix that. Because even you go to school now, there's hardly any interaction between kids, even from what I've seen from my brothers and other people at school.
Well, they're just like we talked about this before. Like the public schools are so fucked up. They're like mini prisons, man. I mean, they even like we said, like they're starting to look more like mini prisons now. They're putting like fences and shit all around them, and it's like, what do you expect when you get like they just keep getting bigger and bigger. The class sizes are getting bigger. The teachers aren't paid like shit, or they're not paid nearly enough. So it's like, of course, I mean, they're just getting worse and worse. So it's like, I don't know what the whole plan is with that. Like, I know that Red for Ed thing here, the teachers, I can't remember, what is it, in like a couple years, they're going to get, you know, whatever it is, the raise that they asked for. It's like $20 an hour, but it's still not enough. Like, whatever it is that they're agreeing to, it's still not enough. So it's like, to me, it's a total fucking broken system. Like, I don't even know why we attempt to even do public schools anymore. Like, they should just be all private. As far as I'm concerned.
Well, I do like that, but I know a lot of people can't afford the private schools.
Yeah.
But even going back to that, I think a lot of the problem is parents nowadays are reliant on the schools to basically not just teach your kids, they're raising their kids.
Yeah.
Their parents work all the time. So back when I was going, my mom or whoever, grandpa was around, they taught me stuff that they knew and taught me stuff about math and everything. Not just, the learning didn't stop when I got out of school. It continued at home with them, show me how to work on the car, work on this. There's none of that no more. So now you got these kids that are just running wild at home. There's no supervision. There's no teaching, no nothing. So when they go to school, it's all on the teachers. So that part I think is hard. But also I see there's some teachers from I've had, there's some that are excellent teachers and do their job.
Definitely.
And there's some that are just
terrible.
They're there to get the money and open your books, read this, and that's what you do for the whole time. And they don't teach you nothing, they don't interact with you, and it's bad. And that's not all of them. But something needs to be done, but I think a lot of it falls on these parents are being forced to work so much.
Yeah.
They're not raising the kid. The schools, they're relying on the schools to raise the kids. And that's what I see is happening. And it's not going to get better. It's just going to keep getting worse until something changes.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what.
That 100% right. Like, that's a big piece of it. Because, like, let's say back in, you know, whatever, like my grandparents' era, you know, the wives, a lot of wives didn't work. You know, I mean, you didn't have to have two incomes. I mean, you could survive off of just one income. Now, you have to fucking have two incomes for the most part. And, yeah, like you said, I think parents are relying on these schools to, like, raise their children, which is fucked up. But I also think that why is it, like, K through 13, why does it last so long? Why does it need to be so long? Because now we have the internet, so you'd think they could drastically streamline that into some sort of like online thing where kids don't even have to actually go to a physical like school building. I mean,
yeah,
why wouldn't they go that
doing
route?
that?
Are they?
That's where the homeschooling comes in.
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't like that. But even with what you just said there with the online stuff, that is another question I have for all those people. All our schools need more money and need for for supplies and all that. And I'm all, what supplies are you buying if you're all pushing for this online training stuff and they can get their books and everything there? Why do we need to keep new books every year and new this and that?
Yeah.
Again, some stuff I can see, but overall, it should be cheaper to go to school now than when it was when I was a kid, because we always had that books, paper, everything.
Yeah.
Now everything, you print it up on, you type your homework out on the computer and you print it out, or your assignment, whatever. We didn't have that back then.
Yeah.
It was all handwritten, or if you did type it, you had that old school typewriter. Some of the kids had
the
the
typewriter.
cool. Some kids had the nicer, back what was the big computers back then.
Yeah.
But I just don't see where all this money is coming in. They need more money, and I'm all. Some stuff again I do understand, but I think when I was in school, you had to return your books after each year, and if it was tore up, they charged you a fee if you didn't take care of it. But you didn't replace the books every year. Now I don't know if they're doing that now, but it seems like they're doing that more often, if they even have as many books. So I think they do, because I see kids with these heavy bags of all these books. So again, with what you're saying though, if that's the case and they're trying to push for all this technology, keep the books, but they shouldn't be updated all the time. That's why you have the internet as a
or just have them
It's
online.
like a companion piece. So hey, if something new happened in history, then we need to update that book. Just print it out online for the kids and pass it out to them or something.
Yeah.
I don't see why we need to keep buying new books and changing stuff. And for one, they're just overcharging, just like college. How much they charge for your books?
College is obviously it's turned into total. It's all about the money. Yeah. It's totally obvious.
But,
I mean, that's all
they
it's
want to
about.
complain on us, but students and if there's teachers that are against it, they all take a stand against these companies that are feasting on these families and kids by charging how much it is for a book. Yeah, $500, $300. Come on.
A lot of it too is like the professors. The professors they'll write a book and then they'll require that's the book that you have to get for their class.
Yeah.
So they're fucking making money off of that too.
Yeah, it's something's got to change, but these people got to take a stand. There's enough kids and people going to college, they can make a change if they all say no, we're not going to do it. Yeah. If all of them stop paying for this ridiculous tuition fees, and especially even if you kept the tuition same, if you cut the book prices in half, it'd make it a lot easier. It's just one step in the right direction.
I was just listening to this chick that was on Joe Rogan. I can't remember her name. This was like a few weeks ago, but she is Canadian, and she went to law school. And not only do Canadians have healthcare, but her schooling, she went to law school. Her schooling costs were $2,000 a year. That's what her fucking schooling costs were. So you look at what schooling costs used to be, like back when my dad went to college, they were way less. And then you compare that to when his parents, my grandparents, it was way like when my dad was in college, you could literally work a bullshit like bartender job and pay your way through college basically. Like those days are way fucking over. And it's so insane how that these kids out of high school, like when I was getting out of high school, I did not know dick about myself or anything. And then you expect them to choose, a career path and take out all these fucking loans. That's insanity. Like who would ever fucking tell your kid like that's a good route to go? That's so crazy.
Well, I think that's again part of the government and part of the school system and part of just our culture in general. They tell you that in order to succeed in life, you need to have a degree in this and that to get out.
That's bullshit, though.
But I think it needs to change, and they need to start expressing, say, you know what, if you want to get an engineering degree or whatever it may be, there may not be a job for you in that field when you get out. Yes, you have that degree, but go in knowing that it's a saturated market. You may not get that. So I'd really like to see, and I'm sure there is numbers or polls or whatever, how many people that have gone to college for whatever they went to school for and got that degree are working in that field today. And it's not.
I would bet you the vast majority are not. Even my dad. Even my dad's generation, people who had college degrees, he doesn't work in the field. I don't think that I know anybody that fucking works in the field that they, or a very, very few people that work in the field that they get their degree in. But it's like, for a while, it was so fucking ridiculous. Like in my dad's generation, it wasn't necessarily what your degree was in. It was that you just had a degree. So when you went to a job, they want to see that, hey, okay, this person at least put in the initiative and they have a degree. It doesn't really matter what it's in, but we know that they're capable of applying themselves to some stupid shit for 4 years or whatever. But now it's like so many people have degrees that it doesn't even fucking mean anything anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I don't know why there's still this huge, because the common kids keep going to college this year and they think they gotta have a degree in this, and I'm all, when is this going to stop and realize that you don't need a degree to have a good job? And even if you do, the job you want may not be there. So now you spent this money, you have this degree, but you're working full-time at McDonald's or full-time as a manager at Crate and Barrel or wherever store it may be. I'm not saying those are bad jobs, but that's not what your goal was.
Yeah.
And that's what you have a degree for, and you have all these loans and debt that you got to pay off.
And then the housing market is totally fucked. So it's like the living costs are super crazy. I feel like millennials are getting fucked over like big time. Not only in the education costs, but the housing costs. I mean, everything is just like super shitty right now.
It's just, well, not just here, but Americans there were getting screwed over because everything's, it's by the rich elite and it's greed that's driving these prices up. keep raising property taxes, it keep raising insurance, keep raising taxes on whatever. And it's like, again, why are all these fees going up? What are they being used for? What's going on?
Well, you see how many people are moving out here from California.
Yep.
I mean, I've been reading shit the past couple of days about how many people are moving out of California and moving to Oregon or Washington or here, Arizona or Texas or Nevada, because the fucking living costs are like outrageous there.
Oh yeah,
totally outrageous.
It's ridiculous. And again, but see, that's the sad thing is now homeowners here or people don't own apartment complex and all that, they're catching on to that too. So now that stuff's going to start going up. It's not much longer that's going to be cheap and affordable. It's going to be overpriced as well because now they want to cash in on that. So it'll be cheaper than it is in California, but by not much.
Yeah, it's so fucked up.
And it's greed that's running this, and it's gonna be hard to fight, but
yeah, because it's like
change.
That's the tough one, and that's the one where they pin people down. I think is the housing, because you have to have somewhere to fucking live, unless you're gonna be homeless. So it's like people, and again, I think it's like all these apartment complexes that they're building all over Arizona, and they're not building as many home divisions or any home divisions really anymore. They're building apartments. So most people are renting, especially young people. I mean, you can't even afford to buy like an Arcadia. I love that area, or down towards Central. And you have all those really cool like 50s brick homes, and they're selling those fuckers for like $500,000. Totally, they need to be gutted. They're shitholes. How can you say that a house that's 60 years old is going to be worth that? That's insanity.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. Again, I know it's location and all. Yeah, it's nice, but again, why is, like you're saying, why is this house double, triple the price of what it was back in the day? Nothing's changed. And even new houses, why are they so expensive? What is so special that you get into this house, which is obviously nothing? It's the same materials.
Well, not even, man. You look at the way they were built in the 50s with they were solid fucking brick.
Cheap
now they're building them out of like fucking plywood.
Yeah, it's like paper.
Yeah.
But that's like, it's these people paying for it. But again, these housing, the companies that own them and are building it are charging this, and they're getting by it. If people stop paying it, they'd be forced to either go cheaper or not make them. But there, again, something's wrong there that this stuff has gotten up to these prices. There's be no way that a house built in the 70s, like you're saying, is...
Yeah, it's fucked up.
So you bought a house, I don't know what it was back then, but just say $120,000 at the most for the whole house.
Yeah, man.
And now it's over $500,000. You're like, why? It's used. There's nothing good about it.
Well, you even look on Zillow. Like, you can't... I don't know how far you can go back, but you can't go back like to the 50s. But you can see the sale history. And even houses sold back in like the early 2000s in that Arcadia area... You could pick up one of those houses for like a couple $100,000, and now, I mean, you can't even get close to that, and it's not even 20 years later.
It's still rolls on, and some people are duped into believing that that's part of what you have to do in life, and the American dream, where you got to have your own house or not. Why?
But I feel like
you never pay it off.
That's what we're missing out on. Is like I feel like that's part of like, unless you live in a super populated, densely populated city. If you're in America, the American dream is you have a fucking house, and you have a car. It's not about like living in some little tiny apartment. So it's like for me, I would much rather live in a house versus like a condo apartment. Yeah. So it's like, but I feel the trend, or they've been trying to push the trend of building more apartments or condos. Because you can more densely populate a smaller piece of land.
Okay, I'm cool with that, fine, but the prices shouldn't be as high as they are for those. It should be cheaper. But again, it's this whole, the American dream back then, it was more affordable. And, if you bought a house, you're probably going to stay there. But the way everything is now, of jobs and stuff, you buy a house, you may have to end up selling it. Either you haven't paid it off, you'll be lucky to sell it for what you paid for it. Yeah. And get anything out of it to buy another new house. So I see all these people wanting to buy houses and all that, but I'm like, why? Because I have friends that have done it, and they buy a house, but 2 years later now they got to move somewhere else. And then they buy another house. I'm like, how would you just rent? Because with your job, apparently you're getting moved around. Wait till you're older. Just save up that money. Yeah, I could see that. But then also, like, you're putting your money into an investment, so that could be versus just throwing it away on rent. No, I see. There's always a give and take to something, and you got to figure out what's best for you. But I think a lot of people just get fooled in and think that this is what they got to do.
Yeah, for sure.
It's part of life. You go to school, maybe go to college, maybe not, have some fun a bit, get married, have kids immediately, do this and that, and your life is over.
I think that's totally blown apart. Like, I don't really know. I guess it'll be interesting to see how the millennial generation turns out like 50 years from now, and then the younger generations, because I don't even really know what. I mean, I don't see people staying married for like 50 years like my grandparents did, or like that shit is kind of over. I feel like I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what but also on the other end of the spectrum, I feel like there's also, because our culture kind of, well, definitely like pushes sex and like promiscuity. So I feel like a lot of people fall in that trap, and I don't think that's good either. So I don't really know what the answer is. Like for me, I don't really have any desire to have kids, so I feel zero pressure to get married. But for people, I mean, some people want to get married, some people want to have kids, so you kind of have I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens, right?
Well, yeah, and I still, what you're saying, I think it's weird how people still think that this is what has to be done. You got to be married, and if you're not married, you're frowned upon because you're still dating, but you're not married. Yeah. And I don't see what the problem is. Again, and you have these people that are pushing this and want to get married and do all this. When you go to get married, more often than not, you're getting married in a church. But these people aren't religious. Yeah. So what's the problem if I'm not married or am married? But even back in the day, where you say there's a lot of sex and promiscuity, it was going on back then. There was no social media, and they kept it easier because the wife would stay at home. He had to work at the office. Yeah. He'd be seeing whoever. I mean, it happened back then. There's some. Yeah, I'm sure. It was really a scandal, and they did a lot of sex selling stuff back then.
Yeah. But they push it so heavy in our culture. Like, you look at shit like anybody who's popular culture, like the Kardashians, or, I mean, look at the way they fucking look. And then you go to like Scottsdale Quarter and you see all these young girls and the way they dress. And not that I have any issue with that, but it's like, I mean, like, sex is pushed heavily in our culture.
As far as I know from studies and history, sex sells, and it's been selling since beginning of time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
true. I mean, it's always going to be there, and that's whether you're a prostitute or you're trying to sell a clothing line or a movie part or makeup or whatever, you got to look like you're ready to give it up right then. So, I mean, that's always going to be around. I don't think that'll ever change, but it wasn't as, again, easily accessible like it is now with all the social media. See, back then you had to get it. You might see an ad once in a while on TV, or it was just in the radar movie, or, you know, like adult magazines. But you couldn't get to that. Now you can get all that stuff as a 3-year-old, basically, if you know how to work the internet, or 5 or 6-year-old, and it's there in front of you. Yeah. You just click on the wrong thing. Oh, there it is.
Fuck.
Yeah. I think also what goes with that is we treat sex and nudity and stuff over here way different than they do over in Europe. And, you know, Japanese and all those other countries.
Japan and China, they are twisted, man. Like, those are some serious, like, repressed people, because they're into like fucking like tentacle porn and fucking anime, like some like crazy weird shit. Yeah. Like, I watched this one thing on I think it was in Japan, and they have this I can't remember what it's called, but it's like this thing where older guys, they go watch these like younger, they're only like 16-year-old girls. I can't remember, I wish I remember what it was called, but they like dance around and sing in like really skimpy little like schoolgirl outfits, and like it's only guys that go see these girls, and they just watch them, and they're like fans of these like girls, and
they're almost dressed like manga characters.
Yeah. But it's like super fucking weird, because it showed like all these guys will go, like these girls, they'll have these like little conventions, and they're like superstars in these countries, the ones that are really famous, and they like sing and dance and fucking, you know, spin around, and all hordes of fucking guys go to these conventions just to like go up to these girls and like shake their hand, and it's so fucking bizarre. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm glad we're not that bad here. Like, we might have some like fucked up shit, but man, that is like totally bizarre.
Well, and human beings capable of some nasty stuff, but I'd be curious to see say that country in particular, what their rape percentage is at, or molestation percentage is at compared to here.
I think I'm totally like off the top of my head, but I think as far as I know, like Japan and China, their crime is far, far less than ours. But they're also more restricted societies. Like I don't know what like China is supposedly a communist country, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the fuck is going on in Japan, but I mean they're definitely more restricted societies. Like you can't have guns in China, I don't think. I don't know about Japan, I'm not sure. But also so they have less freedom, but they have less freedom and they have less crime, but I think they're more fucked up culturally because like shit like that you look at
and they're all packed together like sardines in a small little spot.
Sure.
But I mean, again, with that gun thing, is the criminal still got them? So whether it's
for
the
sure.
Yakuza or
Yeah,
whoever,
the
they got
Yakuza.
it. So I mean,
Fuck yeah, they do.
It's all a weird culture over there. I mean, but again, they look at ours and probably think we're crazy, nutty people anyway. So
Yeah, well, we have our problems.
But they have things to offer that we should be looking at, and I think they still put an emphasis on family and how they raise their
definitely.
kids and stuff, and that's why there is less crime and shootings and you name it. Not that it doesn't happen; it happens, but
I think that's a big one. Is the family thing? Is like Chinese families and other families culturally, they kind of stick together, whereas in America, you're kind of, for the most part, you're kind of, it's promoted to kind of go out and kind of do your own thing and get the fuck out of the house. Like, you know, you're in college
well,
now.
all you eat now. It's always by yourself. Back then, you always eat with family. It's all a big meal and a festive thing. Now, it's not there. But they're kind of losing that over there too now. I saw a show where they're doing there's a lot of these diners that open up late at night, and this is where they go because they're working 14, 15-hour days, or they're sleeping inside like McDonald's or Starbucks because they don't want to take however long it is to get home for a tad bit and then come all the way back. So they just go to the nearest wherever and have a bite to eat.
Up. I feel like that's one thing I'm proud of Americans for is like, hopefully we'll move things more towards, well, I don't know, we still kind of have like that culture of we're kind of like cowboys and fucking Indians, like that type of thing, like, you know, fuck yeah, like America, you know, land of the free type shit, like nobody's gonna tell us what to do type thing, because like you look at the way things are moving and like people are almost like fucking slaves today.
Yep.
I mean, I was reading some shit the other day about Amazon and you know how they treat their workers and how they pay their workers, and like that's fucking modern day slavery basically. Because I can't remember I saw somebody comment in the comment section and they were like, back when there was slavery in the US, like when we enslaved black people, which was fucked up, super fucked up, but they didn't pay people, they didn't pay these slaves, but they housed them and they fed them. But today we pay these people, but then they have to pay for their own housing and feed themselves, and what we pay them is basically fucking just enough to do that basically. So how is that any different from this?
Well, it's not, and it's sadly it's not just say like Amazon. There's several of these prominent corporations where they're pushing it's a minimal 50-hour work week minimum, or you lose money, and or they want you to do more, always more, because you're paid a commission. So they have no problem. They want you, work 16-hour days. And I'm all, again, I can see that maybe happen once in a while, but you got to have that work-life balance. When do you ever get time to get home?
Yeah, it's
16-hour days. What you got to still, if you have family, you got to take care of the kid. You got to do laundry. You got to eat.
Yeah, they're gonna push you. Corporations are gonna try to get as much out of you as they possibly can, because they're gonna treat you like basically a fucking machine. I mean, that's what the whole system is.
Well, that's what they're doing. But we as people need to stand up and fight this. But again, right now, there's say we don't agree with it. Well, we'll find someone that will. And that's the problem, though, is it needs to stop. And again, what it goes even further is with our doctors and firemen and policemen and all that, they keep pushing them to work longer and longer hours. And I'm like, why? Shouldn't you want these people to be sharp and rested, not pushing them to work 18-hour days? So now we're tired and like, oh man, I got a dude that came in and he needs immediate life-saving surgery. I'm falling asleep and I'm hopped up on caffeine or whatever pills they're taking to stay awake. And that whole thing needs to change. All these companies, it needs to set a maximum whatever hours of work today. Or if we are going to go over, let's say go over 12 hours, then you need to get a nice incentive to go over those hours. But most of them don't. It's just, oh, you get this, or you, because you are a salary, oh, you can work 20 hours a day. It doesn't matter. You're still only going to get your 40,000 a year.
Well, it's just like that goes back to what you just said. It's like the pool of people that these corporations can tap into. It's like, you know, if somebody, you know, we don't have like big unions anymore. Most people aren't in a union, so it's like if you don't like it, there's a fucking a line of people to replace you. So it's like they have no incentive to you know, to take care of people.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
No, it's got to stop. I personally myself not a big fan of the unions. I don't think there wouldn't necessarily be a need for the unions if people were not so dependent on that, and not so dependent on the money, but they've gotten to where it is, so they know that they got you wrapped around their finger, and you're going to work this, and if you don't, we'll find someone else that does. Exactly. But between how much they pay you and how much tax they're taking out, and for medical insurance and rent and everything else, you're just working to get by, and then they want you to work till you're 65, just retirement age, and most people aren't going to be able to do that. They're going to have to work past that.
Yeah,
and
for
still
sure.
not make it, and that needs to stop, because the average person lives maybe to 80. So you're working 3/4 of your life.
Yeah, waiting for this grand retirement at the end of your life, and then by the time you get there, you're so fucking worn out,
or in bad health and can't do it. Yeah. Something's got to change, and until again we as a community and people stand up, and this goes beyond just here. You got to get the local people and government to go, and then go up to the next step and the next step. So again, this has been screwed up for a long time.
But now it's so bad, and especially with the housing, because the housing pricing, it's like they basically have people trapped, because it's like, you know, most people can't just say, fuck it, I'm not going to work for anybody, because they're living basically check to check. So it's like, you know, in this country, it's basically if you can't keep your head above water, then, you know, and let's say you end up homeless. I mean, those people are just fucking screwed.
Well, and the sad thing is, even us living check to check, sadly, we're still better off than some of these countries where people are working and their check ain't even cutting it. But that's where we're headed to, is what I see, and it may or may not happen. But the housing thing, the prices of, you name it, food, everything going up. And why is it going up? And it usually leads back to it's just greed. Definitely. One person, I want more money for this, so now it forces them to charge more money for this because they want more money, and it just keeps going up and going up. But again, I could be wrong. It's just my opinion. I may not know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, dude.
You never know, but
I think you're 100% right. It's definitely
people need to do something.
Well, you look at people too. It's like all these billionaires, like Jeff Bezos and stuff like that. It's like, why would you even fucking want that much money? That's what I don't understand. Like, why would you want?
It's that love of money. Once you get a taste of that, it's like you got to have it.
It's so dumb. It's literally
it's like a drug. It's
the power.
It's like a drug. Yeah, it's that power and control, and I can have whatever I want, whoever I want, when I want. I mean, I guess once you get that, it's hard not to do it. It's kind of like us. We're so used to. I get home. Oh, I want food. I can have it in however long it takes to microwave it, or I can just go down the street to McDonald's or Chipotle, and I have food in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had to actually cook everything, make it, prep it. So it's that instant gratification stuff.
But I feel like, okay, in theory, the instant gratification, that sounds good. But I feel like people are almost, like, I want to cook my own shit. Like, I'd love to grow my own, like, vegetables and shit like that. Like, I'd love to be more connected with things versus so, have such a hectic life where everything has to be like I have to rely on a lot of different people just to be able to maintain my lifestyle. Like if you live in like a super densely populated city, like you're relying on a lot of different people to keep that going. Yeah. But I feel like that's what these super wealthy people don't understand is like they're relying on so many people to keep things going, and they think it's just their fucking ego and everything that's made everything possible, that if they fucking push things too far, things are just going to collapse and everything's going to go to shit. So it's like,
Yeah. But I could see them where there's enough powerful rich people. If that happened, now they'd somehow get either like, not saying it'd be our military, but like our military or a military of some sort. And basically you either do this or you're going to be put into a prison camp. So you either work
that's fucking insane.
And I could see that happening.
That's insane.
It's sad. People are like, oh, it'll never happen. But look, in history, it tells you that that can happen and it has happened.
I'd rather go down in a blaze of glory than fucking...
A lot of people want it. But
Fuck yeah.
even while you're talking about the gardening and all that,
Yeah.
it's stuff that needs to be taught. People don't know. So if someone dropped an EMP on like New York or any of these places, you know how many people would not know what to do?
Yeah, I know. It's
They
scary.
would just not know how to survive or anything. Most people end up, there's going to be looting and killing all that, but most of them will just die off because
Fuck yeah,
they
starve.
don't know how to survive for themselves.
I think about that a lot because it's like Phoenix. You look at Phoenix, like this is a huge city. I think it's like the 5th largest city in the U.S. And let's say something like catastrophic happened to where, you know, like food supply got cut off the grocery stores, and that shit would run out.
I mean,
like
that
in
same
days.
day. I think it'd be the same day. It'd be all gone because
So what would
have
people
like
do?
2 people just taking over. Well, yeah, they're going to lead to stealing, but then it's kind of like those shows like Walking Dead and all that where you want to be part of a community, but you got to do this in order to get some food, and you'll get those kind of people. But most of them just want to make it. I mean, look how many people don't know how to change a tire.
Yeah.
Pit fluids in their car, do anything standard, know how to cook, know how to anything.
That's what I'm saying.
They
We
wanna do it.
rely so heavily on each other to get by. It's kind of weird.
Well, that and it comes back to parents not teaching anything to their
Exactly,
kids.
yeah.
My mom showed me how to cook this. My grandpa showed me how to work on the car and do this. They had a garden. They showed me how to plant grass, or not grass, but cut the grass.
Yeah.
Plant vegetables. We had fruit trees, and I had chores, and they told me how to do stuff. These kids nowadays have no idea, no clue what to do.
But that's what makes life enjoyable is all that shit. That's
Well,
what we're
it needs
missing
to
out on.
be. So if it's not going to be taught, it needs to be start putting back into school, and they've been getting rid of a lot of stuff in school even that we could teach you. And I think I saw somewhere, I have a friend on Facebook, and they were talking about they moved to Oregon, and in the school they're actually teaching gardening.
Really? That's
Good.
badass.
They need to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff needs to start happening where this is going on, and then maybe have the big garden at the school, but make it big enough to where it's not just a small yield; it's a big enough yield where I don't know how much, but most of that can be used to provide the meals to the kids at school, or
Yeah,
incorporate
that's
it
cool,
into
yeah.
providing the meals for the kids at school.
Yeah.
So there's ways to do it, and that's why I think again this also goes back to this: nobody communicates or interacts with people, so they have no idea. So if then like you said, all this stuff went down, they own it. They're
It'd
like,
be
I have to
fucked.
actually talk to this person for help. They have
Yeah,
no clue.
man.
It's definitely getting bad, but
You know what I think is hilarious too is it's like when like these billionaires, like they give away a bunch of money and everybody's like, oh my god, that's so great. Like Jeff Bezos just announced he's gonna give away like $2 billion, but that's almost like if you had fucking slaves and you worked them so hard that they produced like a crazy excess amount of crops, and then you gave some of those crops away and you're like, oh my god, look at me, like I'm giving all this food away, how great is that?
Yep.
But you fucking enslaved these people just to be able to
it's
get
all
that
part of
profit.
that. Just trying to build up a
So
image
dumb.
is like, look how cool I am and how nice I am, and people are like, oh my, he's awesome. Not really. I mean, I know it's their money and they worked hard for it, and it's hard to give away, but it's like these people, you need to have taxes and this and that to help out with the community and all that. The way I was raised, if you're in a community and your friend or a neighbor needs help, you help them. I'm not forced to help them by the government, whoever taking money from me and appropriating it or wherever and giving it to someone else.
Well, that's socialism, right?
That's basically part of that. It's not just socialism. That's a good majority of it, and that's kind of what it's going off of. But people don't see that. Again, there's some good theories and points behind that kind of stuff.
But that's why we
I'm all
have
for helping people.
That's why we have like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid supposedly is because everybody contributes to this, and then everybody's going to get taken care of. But it's like, who fucking knows if Social Security is going to be around for us when
I
we
don't
get?
think it'll be there.
Yeah, but it's like if we're all like I love the idea of we all contribute. I mean, like Canada. I mean, they all contribute to healthcare. Everybody has healthcare. They all contribute to whatever their taxes, and people get low cost schooling. So it's like
that's the thing though. People don't
why can't we
understand
do
is, yes, they have the free care and free schooling or whatever they may have, But how's that getting paid for?
Taxes.
And that's coming out of your check.
Yeah,
So
but the
people
problem
understand
with
that.
our country is we get taxed fucking heavily. We
Yeah.
get taxed almost as much or just as much as Canadians. But here in the U.S., you know where our fucking tax money goes? It goes to the military.
Yeah.
And it goes to fucking all this stupid shit because there's no accountability. So instead of the people's tax money going to the people, it gets fucking sucked and siphoned away to all these
and I'm
different
sure
things.
we're going to piss people off about that military thing. And I'm not against the military. I'm all for the military.
hell
But
no.
the spending, and so not just the money going to the military, the problem is how much does it cost? And I saw something where it costs to make a bomb.
Yeah.
Why does it cost that much money to build one of these that we've been building forever? It shouldn't be more expensive than a car.
Well, that's the thing is you have these military contractors or suppliers or whatever it is, and they're all, of course, buddy with these government
I'll give you
people.
this and that.
So when they go to them, they're like, hey, I'm sure they're getting some kickbacks, and they way overinflate these contracts to produce this stuff, which is so fucked up.
Yeah, no, it needs to change. So less spending on that, but again, also what I think is driving up that military spending is how many bases do we have around the world? That costs money to keep those up, to keep soldiers over there, to keep infrastructure. Why are we over there? Again, I know what they're going to tell us and what they'll feed us, and
they're protecting
what
us.
Probably most of the soldiers now sadly believe is going on. And again, I'm not against us having a military and defending ourselves, but
I think a lot of it, and I think even a lot of military people would tell you this, because I've seen or heard people that have come back, from being in Iraq or wherever, and like they're fucked up. But a lot of military people, not all of them obviously, but I think a lot of military people, they kind of get wise to what is going on.
Yeah, some of them do. Some of them don't. Some are just hardcore, nonstop military. And I think that's one of the other, when I brought that up, they come back and they're fucked up. If we're going to send our own countrymen and women over these places and something comes back to them, we need to take care of them as a country. And they're not. And that's sad. But there's the other thing. We can take care of them if we'd stop spending this much money on a new jet to send to this country here. Take that money to help these people that have been over there. But we may not even have to help that many people of our own countrymen if we stop going into these places and getting involved at stuff that, from what I can see from the news, that we shouldn't be involved in, but they've led it up to believe that we need to be involved in.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like, I don't even know. For the most part, I feel like the mainstream media, they don't even cover. I think we talked about this last time too. I have no idea what's going on militarily throughout the world or what we're involved in anymore.
Yeah,
because they don't even cover it.
Well, it's not something we need to know.
That's fucking crazy.
So when you do hear something about, we're going over into Afghanistan or wherever, it's because personally, I think are being told, this is what we need you to cover, this is what we need the American people to be behind and supporting. And let's go over. And I could be wrong. I could probably think I'm a conspiracy theory nut, wherever. I'm just going by what I see on the news and TV. So it'd be interesting, maybe one day you can get maybe two different military people on, or one that served during this time era and one this time, and have them both on there and talk and see what their thoughts are and stuff. Because, we look all that money and people we lost in Vietnam.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
That's not one we won. But I don't see what the problem was. Other than I see the problem that we lost a bunch of people and lives, and it's sad. But what really happened to us as a country by losing that war?
Well, nothing. I mean, we stayed in it so long because it was an ego trip. We didn't want to look weak. But as far as I can tell or know, we didn't want to look weak to other countries, so we stayed in it for as long as we did. But it's like, I mean, you look at the video and stuff like that like the kids that they sent over there. And then you see the video of the parents of that generation, and people were so fucking brainwashed back then. They were like, little Johnny's over there, and he's...
That's sad. That's still going on now.
Yeah, but
look at the recruiting videos nowadays.
I haven't seen it.
It hyped up to be like this greatest thing. Like, you'll be flying these jets like they do in Top Gun with Tom Cruise and this kind of stuff. And most of the time that's not happening. You're doing chores and you're digging ditches and you're doing things for the upkeep. It's not this big dramatic
battle,
awesome stuff that's going on. It's sadly it's not, and nor should it be.
Yeah.
But something's got to change, and it still is all propaganda. They did it back then, they're doing it now, and there is a lot of people. And if I was a common American person and I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, we're over there, we lost all these Americans, nothing happened for us losing that war. Maybe start questioning, why are we over there in the first place?
Yeah. I think we talked about this too last time, that Ken Burns, that documentary on Netflix, which is fucking amazing. But what was crazy too is towards the end of the Vietnam War, they had all these kids protesting at colleges, and they fucking shot and killed like college kids for protesting.
Yeah. That's
some crazy ass shit. Like if that happened today, people would be, that is not acceptable. But it's amazing to see, like, again, as fucked up as we are right now in this country, it's amazing to see the progress when you think, 50 years ago, what, segregation and what the climate was like then versus what it's like now. And it's interesting to see what it'll be like 50 years from now, like how things change and move forward. Because I still feel, obviously, like with the whole Trump thing, there's still some people out there who have some racism or whatever going on in their, in their ideology. But if you look at the trend, for the most part, I mean, a lot of those things are falling away because more people live in, the coastal cities and like densely populated areas versus.
Oh yeah, and you're around those other cultures.
Yeah.
But it goes back to that, is it's how you're raised. If you're in some of these parts where your parents raised and they raised you to be that way,
yeah,
you can be that. But it's as far as I'm concerned, it's never going to go away. It's like saying, oh, if we can get rid of all the assholes in the world, it'll be a better place. You're never going to get rid of all the assholes in the world. Because it's just, by nature, there's people that are just assholes. They're going to be that way. No matter what you do, no matter how much you kill them off or wherever you think you need to do, there's always going to be one.
Yeah.
And these people are always going to exist. And that's what people need to understand. You may not like it. I don't like it. But you're not, other than doing like a mass killing of these people, you're not going to stop this.
I don't think we need to, I hate that there's like right now how there's all this, everybody gets into their group, whatever that group is. And, it's us versus this group or whatever. I think eventually everybody's going to come around. Like most people will come around, but it's like, why does everybody need to, like everybody's so fucking angry all the time. It's like, even when you just go out like in normal everyday life, it's like the majority of people, like if you just watch people and look at people, like most people just look like they're in this like pissed off mood.
Well, I think they are, is because they're so depressed or overworked, underpaid. It's just stressful. Everything's stress, overpriced, everything. But there's a lot of good people in the world.
Oh, hell yeah.
In this country and other countries, but they want you to see the bad, and they only focus on the bad because that's what sells. You don't hear anything about good hardly ever.
Yeah.
Once in a while I do. So, I mean, there's a lot of good people.
Controversy.
Even in this country, in this state, in this town, there's tons of good people. I run into them every day.
The majority.
But there's always going to be people that are mean and rude and ignorant and are just evil, mean people in general. And it's us that people, I consider myself to be a good and nice person, but you got to go out there and keep spreading that and being nice and courteous to other people. And people have lost that. There is no respect for your elders. Not saying respect the elder if they're being a jackass, but simple stuff, holding the door open for people. And that doesn't happen, very seldom does that happen anymore.
I think people are becoming more aware of it though, just because like shit is kind of crazy right now politically. And so I think the people who are aware of it are trying to be more, like when I go out, I see people who are trying to be more, nice and do shit like that, like hold open a door or whatever. And like you said, like that's when you do stuff like that, that ripples, like just being nice to somebody, could totally like change their mood or whatever. And that could cause like a huge effect for them doing that to other people throughout the day. But I think it definitely like comes back to what you're saying is like people are they're so stressed out and pushed so hard that that's just like a luxury for most people to be in that sort of, which is fucked up.
Well, you know what, as I said, by being overworked, it's not just being overworked. If you're going to be overworked, how about some praise from your bosses and stuff? And it's not. They're always just, you did this wrong, Never like, oh, hey, you know what, you did this good. Let's try to keep doing that. It's always just negative and writing you and accusing you of doing this and not doing that. And they're yelling and they're mean and they're pissed off all the time. And it blows my mind that these people get in these positions like this and can keep those positions.
Yeah, right.
And it happens a lot at retail.
Yeah, definitely.
You get these people as managers, grocery stores, and they're rude. They're rude to the customers, rude to their employees, yell at them, degrade them, and I'm all, how is this person still a manager or a boss? And that's why now you're rude to me and you hurt your worker, and now they're mean and being mean to the customers, and they go home and be mean to their kids and their family and spouse or husband and wife, whatever it is. That needs to stop too. But people don't allow it to happen because they have a degree, so we need them in this position.
I feel like, yeah, for sure, most work environments are like very toxic for people. And it's true, like especially like in retail, it's so hilarious working in retail. Like you see somebody who gets, they're promoted to like a managerial position, and so many people, like they get a little bit of power and they just fucking go off the charts. Yeah. Like it's so hilarious to see that. They think they're like fucking, Pablo Escobar all of a sudden. It's like, chill out, dude.
No, and they get mad because like, oh, I want you to do this, do more of this. Why isn't this done or this getting done? And it's like, what's my incentive? You're getting paid how much just to sit there and yell at me? Or say there's positions where, this guy is, you're basically the same thing as this person is a manager, but you're an assistant manager or something. Mm-hmm. You have the same responsibility, same amount of work, and they want you to do more even, but you're not getting paid the same amount. Yeah. And then you wonder why sometimes they might slack off a little. I know that isn't justifying it, but to me, it justifies it to me. It's like, why would I bust my ass twice as hard when you're getting twice as much money?
Well, that's the thing.
And there's no chance for me really to get your position.
The reason why most people want to move up in a corporation or whatever it is because the higher up you go, the less shit work that you have to do. So, I mean, the people who are doing the real hard work are the people at the bottom. In the higher up you go, you're not maybe working physically hard or you're more just kind of managing people to do all the other shit,
Well, they don't understand, again, is a lot of those, they ride you so hard because if you hit this number and you get this, and they get a bonus. And that's another thing I think needs to change is they give these bonuses to the people that are not doing the job. So say I'm the manager of a grocery store and we get just for example, I don't know if it happens, but say that's the case, and hey, if all you guys hit these numbers and we get this many sales and we have this, our losses or whatever damaged product goes down, I get, $500 bonus on my check. Well, it needs to be the opposite. How did all these numbers get hit? Because of your employees. They need to get the bonus. Yeah. You can get a bonus too, but it all needs to be split between everybody. You keep your workers happy, they'll keep your company happy and running smoothly. Yeah. But that's why a lot of these companies go out of business, or do you see all these negative reviews because they're not keeping their employees happy. Yeah. They're keeping it all for themselves, all for me, and it's not being spread out.
Those are the people that matter, though, is the people who are the face of the company. That's all the people that the customer sees. The customer doesn't see the fucking corporate office and all the dumbasses that work there. They see the store that they walk into. So these companies, when they treat their employees like shit and they're constantly turning people over, and most companies have basically just got used to that idea is we're just constantly going to turn people over because that's how it is, But you'd think they would see that, hey, we're not as a valuable company, or we're not as good of a company if we treat our people like shit versus if we really take care of our people.
Well, and I think that's happening a lot, and I think that part of that problem also is, say I've been with a company for 15 years, hey, maybe you should look at me to hire me as being the next high, whatever, CEO or whatever. I know the company, I know what they need. I'm out there, maybe I should be out there, but I don't have that degree. So we're going to bring in this kid that just graduated from college with a degree, has no idea how the company works, no idea, none of this. He just sees numbers.
But they can mold them. That's why they want the young people.
Yeah, but they still just see numbers and they don't see the whole problem. They need to start promoting within. But again, all these people, they get mad at the lower workers because he's screwing me over by not doing this or doing that. And it's not necessarily, you got to look at what is he going through? Why is this not getting done? What's an incentive, or what can we incentivize him with to get this job done other than, if you don't do this, you don't get fired. But instead, it's always these negative things. You don't hit this number, you're going to lose money off your check. You don't hit this many, whatever, you're going to lose money off your check.
I hate
sales.
That's
where the problem that stuff needs to change. And it's not. It's just getting worse and worse. It's always hit this, or you lose your job, or you don't get, oh, you didn't hit these numbers, oh, you only get $20 per week. Wow, great.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No bueno.
Nope.
Anything else crazy that you want to say about what's going on right now?
Well, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I just think it just, again, it's all the social stuff is, there's good stuff, but I think it focuses on a lot of the bad stuff, and that's leading to a lot of the issues here.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I agree that most people, I think, are good. And I think most people, that's the thing I don't understand is like, I feel like life could be so much better for the majority of people if we didn't squeeze people so tightly. It's like, why? Because the way I always look at it is like, if everybody is around, I want everybody around me to be super happy and doing super well, because that enhances my life too. Like if everybody around me is fucked up and miserable and I'm like super rich, it doesn't matter how much money I have. That sucks. Like, so I don't understand why. And again, I think that's a problem with capitalism, is this in our country. Is it's like, it's so, all these different industries, whether it's the medical supply industry or the pharmaceutical industry or the educational system or whatever it is now, it's like when everything is all about just the profit and about money, the majority of people end up just getting fucked over and squeezed to death.
Well, the end of that last thing is like with politicians or movie stars or anybody famous, you got to be careful when you see a movie star or a politician pushing for a certain bill or a certain thing.
Yeah.
Look at it as, what are they benefiting from this? So if you see a movie star, like I saw one, I think it's Jim Carrey coming out and he wants us to go for socialism.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. He may like it, but overall, he's rich and famous and wealthy.
Yeah.
He's probably benefiting from pushing that and want people to go for it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he is, but more than likely, almost all of them, there's an incentive for it. Even a politician, they promise this and that. And that's why most people will vote for this person or this person. What incentive am I going to get for me as a person by voting for this person?
Yeah.
And then care less if it screws over these people or if he even screws over most of their life. But, and that's how most old people vote, or they vote for, is he going to keep my Medicare around? And it's like, you know what? That's fine, but you don't care less about the younger people because he's going to keep your Medicare around, but what is he doing to us to get that? So be careful what you see famous people, politicians promising, or, hey, you all should go for this. Let's push for this. We need to switch over to this, because more than likely there's something that is an incentive for them to want that to be brought here. Yeah. And that's how I look at it now, and that's how most companies, what's their incentive for pushing this law or pushing this new program?
Yeah. Well, that's a big problem too, is like all the lobbying that goes on. It's like all these big corporations, I mean, they have all the power. So yeah, you can vote, you know, and you can put in your opinion, but it's like at the end of the day, I mean, just whoever's got the most money, I mean, you have a significant more amount of influence versus just everyday people. So,
oh yeah, and that needs to change too. But
yeah,
and that's why I think the newspaper are paid off. It's like, if you're so interested in who's the best for this country, give them all the same amount of attention, no matter who has the most money to buy these commercials and this and paid for some stupid, $10 million plate meal and stuff like that. There's a problem here, and most Americans are not seeing that. Fuck. Or just don't care. It's usually what it is.
Yeah.
They just don't care, or it doesn't affect me. I don't care.
Yeah, man. This next election is going to be super interesting. The presidential election, anyways.
Yeah, but I think it's just, sadly, you're going to have all these people who are just going to vote for whatever it is and say that it's enough. Tide, let's go against this president now because now we didn't like what he did. We want to go for
the
this.
Parties, whatever
and
your party is.
Landfill towards the Democratic Party more than often than not, which is sad. It shouldn't be just, he's Democrat now, let's go for that. Because when you really look down into it, there's no difference other than a name. And they push for a couple different things, but they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're all vicious and evil for the most part. They're doing something to benefit themselves and their friends and government, and not really us.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
But that people need to open their eyes to that, because a lot of them are going to, or they're on that thing like, well, we need a woman president now.
That's
I'm all for a woman president, but how about we vote for one that's actually good?
The right one, yeah.
Not because she did this or that or whoever. And that's their problems. They're voting for it. It's all social media stuff. Who's trending and popular.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Look how popular we are. We can celebrate through the world because we have a woman president, or we have a Hispanic president, or whoever.
Yeah.
Vote for who overall is the best person, but they're not. It's going to a party, or because it's a woman, or because
just because it's
African
historic.
American, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
stop.
it doesn't mean it's good.
And that needs to stop. But sadly, it's not going to stop anytime soon.
I hope fucking Kanye West doesn't run for president. I've heard people say that he's going to run for president.
Again, but that brings up the whole thing is.
I guess fucking nuts.
But what's the main reason he would even have a chance?
Because he's
famous
popular,
and popular.
yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
If much like right now, Donald Trump, he's a super famous, popular person for how many years?
Yeah.
If he wasn't who he was, but his name was still Donald Trump, but he wasn't a famous TV person and owned all these companies and us, he wouldn't have a chance in hell, probably. Who's this dude?
Yeah, you're right.
But because he's popular and was on TV and had all this stuff and talks a big game, but he has the money to push it.
Yeah.
And you see that in a lot of the races. There's all these smaller third parties. They got good stuff, but
I really hope Bernie Sanders, or I wish Bernie Sanders would run as a third party candidate this next election, because I think he had so much support and he got fucked over by the Democrats, and I love Bernie Sanders. I think he's gonna run this next election. I'll vote for him no matter what, but I wish he would run as a third party candidate because I think he would get a lot of support.
So he'll get a lot of support, but if he runs as third party, I think that's the death of him. And that's why a lot of them, even if you'll see them, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of Republicans and a bunch of Democrats. Yeah. But the lower you get down, the lower ones that don't have no attention, they're under that party, but they're not really that party, but they're there because they're going to get the recognition because of just what party they're in.
Yeah.
So if they went over to a third party, you're automatically just blacklisted. You're like,
yeah.
And so I think he won't do that.
No bueno. Maybe, I wonder if I could get Donald Trump to sit down with me.
You never know. You never know.
Shout out to Donald Trump.
Your ratings would be huge immediately.
And his giant hands, that would be fucking dope.
Huh? Your ratings will go through the roof.
Fuck, yeah.
Again, you'd be popular immediately.
Fuck, yeah, man. We'll see. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
You can only hope. Well, thank you for talking with me again.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you definitely come back on. Maybe when your skate shop opens back up. That'd be sick.
Definitely. I'd appreciate it. I'd
cool.
love to come back.
What's it? Reverb, right? It's called Reverb.
Abbreviated RVRB.
In Desert Ridge.
Yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
Cool. Thanks
Sweet. Yeah. All right. Okay.